Hello, everyone. I'm Adam with Demiplane. Thank you for joining me for this week's development update and community Q&A session. Like always, we are going to talk about latest updates. So this is everything that we have been working on or that we might have released since the last time I spoke with you. And then we are going to talk about what is on deck after that. So basically, after we clear the table of everything that we're currently working on, we're going to talk about what is currently in that on deck status. And then, as always, you can ask questions and you can start that right now. We have our magical demibot collecting those from Twitch chat. All you got to do is type the word question, follow it by the question itself, and voila, we will have the questions that I will get to as many as I can at the end of the stream. And also today, not to be overshadowed by anything, we are giving away an Avatar Legends book bundle. So this is going to include the core book as well as Wan Shi Tong's Adventurer's Guide. This just incredible game, incredible content here. And so pay attention to the prompts in chat for your chance to win that here today. Let's jump into latest updates. Oh, and disclaimer: allergies. This whole transitioning to spring thing doesn't typically go well for me, and so I'm feeling it right now. I'm hoping that I don't descend into a fit of coughing. If I do, though, I'm going to try my best to mute, and then we're going to just watch me look ridiculous on camera for a little while I get things under control, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to talk about everything that's going on at Demiplane. All right, so Pathfinder Nexus Early Access. If you missed it, we are live last week with the finale of Gatewalkers. This is an incredible adventure path. I think it's the next one I'm going to be running. And then Lost Omens, Firebrands. Firebrands, I love the vibe of that book. And so if you haven't checked it out yet, you should check that one out. Definitely the kind of campaign that I would want to be running there. But that is live now for Pathfinder Nexus. We are working on the enmity cycle, and then on the character tools update, we've got some things that are work in progress here, especially mobile responsive views. We're taking a little bit of a deeper pass on this than we initially thought we were going to, and so that's why it's taking a little bit longer. But when we got under the hood, we knew it would be a little bit more efficient for us to go ahead and do that now. So that's what we're doing. We have some class feature updates. We'll get into the full notes here in just a moment that are going out today, and we're also going to have some styling updates as we're putting in today, because we are starting to move in many of the places to kind of more of that polish mode, which bodes well for when open beta is going to be getting closer and closer here. On Vampire Nexus and Avatar Legends Nexus, we've got work continuing on the character tools there. We're making progress. As I've said before, the progress that we're making on Pathfinder is also progress for these different character builders and digital character sheets as well, because it is all part of a platform. And so as we are putting improvements in for Pathfinder, we're getting the benefits of those things as we're going into Avatar and Vampire as well. So if you don't hear specific updates about Avatar or Vampire, know that work is being completed, because that 20 to 25% that is not system related is what we're going to be working in these other games to bring them to life inside the platform. If you missed this last time, we have some updates to Game Compendium on the Pathfinder Nexus side, and across the board we've added sources on all of the Nexuses. But also we are continuing to work through the rules index and on deities. We're getting very close on deities, so we should have a deities listing for Pathfinder before too much longer, and that is going to be incredibly useful, I think, when we get there. All right, let's look more closely at the character tools closed alpha update notes for the build that is going out a little bit later today. So we've got some class and class feature updates. We've got some things going in for barbarians. We've got a little bit of work on the witch class that has kind of started up now. We have some alchemist and ranger updates. I'm not going to read everything on there to partially try to save my voice, but also because these update notes are going to be posted onto our forums later on when that build goes out. But the team is continuing. There's one side of this work that is content related and kind of adding mechanics, related. And a lot of that work, we've got, the team that is working on that. They're forging ahead and trying to get to a complete state ready for the open beta. Then we have some item related updates. Alchemical bombs are going to appear as ranged attacks appropriately now. We have item bonuses to alchemical items that are being calculated now. So a lot of that is starting to happen. Multiple damage types. So if you're trying to roll damage for an alchemical item, we've got the different types of damage, persistent, splash, etc. All of that is going to be showing up in the build a little bit later today. That work is going to continue as we get closer and closer to the open beta as well. And then finally, we've got some spell updates. We resolved an issue with spell damages not appearing for some users. Thanks for helping us track that one down out there with the alpha feedback. Very valuable to us. We implemented a first pass at heightening spells. There is more work that's going to continue here, but cantrips should now scale appropriately to character level. If you're not seeing that, then let us know and we'll get that isolated. And then finally, I actually spent a good bit of time over the weekend with this myself. We've got some visual updates that are going to start coming in as of today. And we're not done here by any means, but you are going to notice that in the character sheet, things are starting are going to start tightening up quite a bit. So this is going to be just consistency from section to section. It's going to be standardizing components between sections because during the alpha, we've kind of been in this phase of getting it to work. We're starting to have a little bit of activity of getting it to look right and work right. So all of that activity is starting. You're going to see just kind of a general tightening up of things, and things looking cleaner and looking closer to being ready for an actual public release. Accessibility for buttons and tap space is going in. Part of the past this week and weekend has been that, and then on desktop. So we're working on mobile and responsive layouts right now. As I said, we're kind of taking a deeper pass on that than we originally intended first to do. But on desktop, as of the build a little bit later today, hold on one second. I think I'm trying to eat a piece of hair. I'm going to say that was probably my beard and not, my dog hair that just floats around in the air because I have too many dogs. On desktop, though, the sheet bottom section in particular, it should be, as of later today, scaling more appropriately. So if you're on a typical desktop environment, it's going to take into account the view height of what you're, looking at the character sheet on, and it's going to actually make it to where so far in the alpha, we've had a situation where we're scrolling in about 3 different places. And so the overall page is going to scroll and go down. But then when you get into those bottom sections, they're going to also independently scroll. So not the best experience so far into the alpha. We should be having, at least the first update that's going to make that a much, much smoother experience going out today as well. So if you find any wonkiness with any of that, this is definitely a place where some wonkiness could be introduced. But generally, in pretty typical environments, that is going to be a pretty big improvement. So all of those things are going to start hitting a little bit later today. And again, more to come. We've got a lot more polish that's going to be happening in the sidebar drawers on the character sheet that we haven't touched yet. So all of those things and that activity is starting. All right, so some examples of this here with visual polish, just a couple of screenshots. As you can see, and I could, if I had thought about this more, I would have, kind of done a live demo of it, but I did not set that up in time. But ultimately, with this, you can see that skills and actions and activities section, those are going to appropriately kind of cut off at the bottom of the screen now. They're going to, have kind of a gradient fade, alerting you that there's more content there. But then the overall page. So if I'm trying to scroll out here in this, background image space or whatever, that should be locked and shouldn't be scrolling when these updates go out. So it should be a lot more friendly for trying to use that on a desktop. You can see here in the second screen, we've got, updates even for dice rolling and tightening some of that, and the colors up, more consistency kind of, with our buttons and everything else that's going on here. So we've got improved tap space in a variety of places, and everything is just generally going to be breathing a lot better than it currently is on live. So again, those things are going out starting later today, and more to come. All right, let's do a giveaway. So we have an Avatar Legends digital book bundle. This includes the core book and one Shitong's adventure guide. Great content. Good luck. I wish all of you could win, but there can be only one. So good luck with that. All right, upcoming. Pathfinder Character Tools closed alpha. We're working on this new book coverage. We've gotten that I think almost all of the data entry completed for this. We are now hooking some of the things up into the engine. So you should see, books outside of the core rulebook and the advanced player's guide getting much more support very soon. We're working on currency. I've seen kind of the final design mock-ups for that be passed over to the development team in the last couple of days. This is looking slick. We're going to be working on familiars, companions, formulas, homebrew in sheet, which homebrew in sheet, again, to kind of, reiterate what that's going to be, is that's going to be the ability, it's not a full-blown homebrew system that's going to come as we're in the beta, but with in-sheet homebrew, what we're targeting there is if you have some kind of special item, your game master has allowed you to have something that is not an official item that is in the book somewhere, you should still be able to generally pull that off. You'll be able to update text. You'll be able to update names. You'll be able to update bonuses. And, this might not tie into all the math of the sheet, but you'll be able to update it in a way that it will display properly on your sheet. So that's kind of the priority to begin with. We want to make sure that you always have things at least as good as you could do on paper. And obviously we want things to be far more convenient than that over time, but we never want things to be worse than paper. This is kind of the starting point with what we're going to do with homebrew, but that full-blown system will be something that we're really excited to tackle as we get into the beta. Game content side, really nothing new here. This is the roadmap that we have in front of us that we're going to be working through as soon as we're able to get to it. And then we've received several questions about 2023 conventions for Demiplane. And if you haven't noticed, we have definitely been really tied up with development the last few months. And so we're going to continue that trend for a little while longer as we make this push into open beta and getting avatar and vampire character tools out there into the wild. But to kind of signal this to everyone, you can expect us to have a formal and big presence at Gen Con and likely PAX Unplugged. So really the message there in response to the questions that we received is we are still, our team is very focused on getting the platform in a place where we are considering the platform launched. And once we get there, the back part of this year, we are going to be ready to partay. So we are going to go to some conventions, but it'll Gen Con is probably where that's going to kick off for us, and then you can expect to see us at a lot more of those in 2024. So I wanted to share that in response to several of the questions I've seen coming in. Tonight, we do have a special on the Airtay. So this is our monthly after show for children of Airtay. And we kind of hit an interesting spot in the schedule for this month where, many of the cast members are tied up, doing their own things. Our entire cast has such such incredible work that they do out there, and so we thought it would be fun to do a little switcheroo here, and I am going to host tonight, and we're going to have Sam and Josh. So we're going to kind of do, I saw someone joked that this was, under the Airtay or something tonight, but we are going to have a discussion. A little behind the scenes discussion, and you can ask them any questions that you possibly could want. I know that in order for Sam to do their job, they have to watch every single episode, and not only watch, but really get into it. So I'm sure that Sam being paid to do this might be inclined to share that they love the show or whatever, but I believe it for the most part when they say that they do love the show. And so, this is someone who has a lot of very firsthand knowledge of children of Airtay and everything that's going on. And I won't necessarily shout it from the rooftops or anything. But Sam probably knows more about what's going on than possibly even Adam or definitely Silas, because Sam probably pays more attention than Adam. So anyway, it should be a great show tonight. Tune in at 6 p.m. Pacific. And then one last little thing, talking about this Children of Airtay cast. Hope Lavelle runs a game on the That's How We Roll channel, and this is Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Pacific. And this week I am going to they put together this little promo image. They asked me for an image of myself, and I didn't know that I was going to end up being like majestically placed in front of all this beautiful artwork. But yeah, so I'm going to guest on this week's episode, and it should be a fun one. This show is all about living in a realm where nightmares can become real, and I think that my character's nightmare should be a heap of fun. So we'll see how it goes on Wednesday. All right, I think it is time for questions and answers. So let me jump over to our question bot. We got plenty of time for questions, so if you have those, feel free to throw them in there, and I will get to them. Hold on one second. I'm gonna take a little cough break, and then I think I can power through. Oh yeah, we're doing fine. All right. Anchor 89. Is there a place where we can post / list game systems that we would like to see on Demiplane, like a wish list? I have seen that there are a couple of forum posts out there for this, and so that's perfectly fine for you to put them. One of the other things that I will say, just kind of generally, is, if it is a publisher that really is on the radar at all out there, there's a pretty good chance that we have spoken to them. We have a very big pipeline of things that we haven't even talked about yet, because again, bandwidth. We have a small team, and we're trying to work through these first 3 games that we're working on here with character tools. But once the platform is in place, we anticipate that we'll be able to really speed up and scale after that. And so you'll get more news as we go through the year on new publishing partners that we're working with. It's going to be it's going to be good. And so just kind of throwing that out there that you can share that. But most of the time I look at these lists that we see on the forums and I say, yep, they're going to be excited to hear that when we are able to announce it. So I'm not saying that we have everybody. So by all means, share that out there. But I will also say that we have several publishing partners that we haven't. The timing has not been right for us to talk about yet. But yeah, the forums is great. Discord, any of those places, we see all of those different places. And even if we don't always reply to that on the forums, because there's a lot of messages coming from all directions. The thing that I can verify for you all right now with a great deal of confidence is that we see everything that comes in. And so if we're seeing it, that means it's making it to the right place, even if we're not able to reply. Silent Brad, have you seen the trailer for the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie? Thought? Yes, I have, and I am incredibly excited about what I'm seeing there. I think that what Into the Spider-Verse has done for animation, it started something truly special, and you can see the DNA of that starting to kind of permeate other films. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is an incredible film, and some of the concepts behind how the animation works and Into the Spider-Verse is starting to show out there. I love what the visuals are doing in this film because they're doing a lot of the 2D kind of anime inspired style there, but they're also giving it kind of a sketcher kind of feel to it. So love the visuals. I love the characterizations that I'm seeing, in that limited space that we have in the trailer. So very, very excited for that one. The moment that I see, the action figures go on sale, I'll have those pre-ordered. So yeah, it's I'm excited, and I hope it kicks off a whole new era for my favorite ninjas. All right, let's see. Goldberg 337, you excited to guest on Misfits tomorrow? Yes, I am. I am looking forward to it. You're all going to meet Wim Scott-Free, Captain Wim Scott-Free. It's gonna be great. All right. UK Haiku, are you looking forward to Kobold Black Flag's name reveal? Yeah, I am. Looking forward to the name reveal. It's kind of one of those things with code names. Sometimes you get this great code name, and it's like you get to the finish line with it, and it's like, hey, can we just keep the code name? But then you know that it's not appropriate to do so. So Black Flag is a pretty cool code name, I will say that. So very, very excited for people to hear what it is going to be, the actual name. Artemis Themp, do you have any suggestion for an adventure or AP that covers 18 through 20? Is Stellar Fate, to my understanding, ends at level 18. Yeah, honestly, as I'm thinking through, I don't know if I have ever played or ran an adventure path 18 through 20, because even if one of them theoretically goes that high, I don't think that we have ever leveled that high through the adventure path itself. So typically what I do there, that's not to say that I haven't ran the characters through the max level of 20. Typically when the adventure path ends, that is, my tactic that I use for that is, once we run through the full adventure path, I am thinking throughout the entire thing, how can I tailor some type of homebrew related adventure that is going to help the different characters achieve, kind of their end game goals after the adventure path. So just for example, if somebody wants to run a kingdom somewhere, or somebody wants to become a deity, a demigod out there, or what, like those are the kinds of things that I'm going to try to mesh those things together to give the players and their characters that they have obviously played for a while a personalized send off. And so I'm not saying that's the only way to do it, but I think that I don't know if I would have a great recommendation personally, because typically that's what I will look to do for those last two to three levels for people once we get done with an adventure path. Anchor 89, will we ever be able to search books by page number? Not sure on that one, actually, because page numbers just don't mean a ton to us in the digital format. So I won't say never, but that is not something that we would be focused on. In the short term, I can certainly say it's not on the short term roadmap or anything. But if we see enough demand out there, and we gauge that there's enough interest in it, I wouldn't say it would never happen, but it's not on our radar at the moment. Rex Verity, have your kids started stealing from your hat t-shirt collection, and are you cool with it? Actually, it's kind of funny that when I was a teenager, I look just like my 18-year-old. The only difference is, I played a lot of basketball and had a lot of weight room stuff, and so he's a little more svelte than I was probably at that point in time. But so he could not wear my clothes right now for sure. So the t-shirts don't happen. I didn't get as burly as I am, and especially broad shouldered. The shoulders started really it's like a mutagenic kind of reaction or something when I got into my 20s. But yeah, he cannot wear the shirts, but he definitely stays away from the hats as well, because he actually makes hats. I know that sounds silly, but he does. He makes hats, and they're typically not baseball caps like I collect. They are fedoras and like wide brimmed hats. Like I think that he is making like an actual Puss in Boots hat for somebody. So he has learned how to be a hat maker in the last couple of years, and he does a good bit of that. So he wears hats all the time. He's made hats for the entire family. My youngest, who is 14, he wears hats all the time, but his hats are always like the kind of hat that you would see, like the fedoras and those kind of hats that you would see in the 30s or on the beach somewhere. He wears those everywhere we go. And then my other son is wearing like flat caps and those kind of hats. So they just don't wear baseball caps. So if they did wear baseball caps, I think they would probably try to raid my stuff. But we've had a nice segregation of interests when it comes to the different kinds of hats. So I have not had to deal with them trying to steal from my collection, on either of those fronts. So I've been very fortunate that they've kept their hands off my things. All right, Ellie Dubs things. Will the Pathfinder 2 tools allow for the use of the dual class variant rule anytime soon, or is it more of a longer term thing? I wouldn't, it depends on your sense of soon. We are absolutely interested in covering all of the optional rules, and we will certainly get to that one. It's going to depend on what we're seeing as the community demand for those things. So as we get there, I imagine we will end up putting out some polling and some survey kind of information to understand which optional rules are the most sought after, the ones that people are using at their tables the most, and we'll use that as an input. We'll use other data points as well to make some of those decisions. But I have seen a good bit of interest in this one, and so it wouldn't surprise me if this one gets prioritized a little bit higher. But things like free archetypes, we know that that's very popular, out there, and we'll be covering those kind of things first. But the dual class variant rule probably would be, higher up on the list. But we do have to focus right now on getting the core mechanics in place, and that's where we are currently. Anchor 89, are there any plans to allow users to change the color theme for Nexuses? Dark mode for Pathfinder 2, light mode for Vampire. That is, I thought when I started reading the question, it was going to be a little bit more around, the digital character sheet. And the answer to that was, that's certainly coming. As far as, changing the full theming for an entire Nexus, it is absolutely planned. It's not something that's going to happen in what I would consider the short term, but all along the way, we have been putting the hooks in place for when we get ready to do that effort. It's going to be a little bit of a smoother process. And so definitely planned. I wouldn't say it's on the short term roadmap. Goya Torsten, will there be support to export characters directly into Foundry or other VTTs? I'm assuming that's on the roadmap, but just wanted to confirm. So the short answer is yes, there will be support for exporting characters. What form that will take, we can't say exactly at the moment. I know that we're going to be interested in whatever the most efficient path that maintains a very high level of quality is. And so the reason I'm saying that is I know that there are very active communities that are doing a lot of community development out there for a variety of the VTTs. And so it is possible that we would, partner with some of those people doing that kind of development. If, again, we thought that that was the most efficient path and the path that would still guarantee a very high level of quality. If we don't feel like that's the right path, then we may do that in a first party way. So again, the execution details of how we're going to go about that, we haven't made those, final decisions on that yet. But I would say that there is no world where we don't have the ability to export characters to use in other places, because that is a big part of what we're doing here with our Nexus tools. Is you can come and unlock your content, create your characters, and then you can use them however you want to use them. So yeah, it's certainly something that will come. We just don't exactly know how yet, but those are all those are all just engineering problems that we've got a lot of great engineers that we will solve when we get there. Rao Gung, when is the Marvel game expected to release on Demiplane? No update on that yet. We're still working through all of the details with Marvel about exactly how that's going to work. So as soon as we have news, we will share that with you. Where's the Mead? Will Demiplane be developing any VTT integrations, or would that be left to the community? I think I touched on that one a decent amount. And again, to kind of accentuate that a bit more, when we look at it, we will not be looking at it as, quote, leaving it to the community. So when we get there, it won't be the approach behind that, or possibly the attitude behind that, is not like, hey, they can fend for themselves. That is definitely, and I'm not saying that's what you're implying with the question, but I want to clarify that that's not how we will be thinking about it. We are certainly going to be looking at it again in the terms of how can this be most useful for people out there. And if we determine that we can get there most efficiently and effectively, by working with, community developers, that is absolutely a viable path that we will explore. If we feel like, we have a way to do that, again, more in-house, then that's the way that we'll do that when that time comes. Newfound Control. Could we maybe get a Children of Airtay live play at a con? Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. Absolutely a possibility. We'll see how it goes. I wouldn't say no to it, but it might not be this year. But I imagine by 24 that is a very likely possibility. But still could happen this year as well. We haven't made all those plans yet. K Mouse, and this is the last one, and then I am going to go gargle some salt water. K Mouse, are there any discounts coming or linking of accounts for others besides Pathfinder, example Alien or Vason? So ultimately, that is really, really dependent on the publishing partner that we are working with. So, on the Demiplane side, we are always very interested in any kind of, linking of accounts or any kind of physical digital bundling or ways to make, offerings, easier and just better for fans out there. And so, Paizo for many years has had this Paizo Connect API. That is a wonderful thing that Paizo does. And so we will gladly, link up with that and work with Paizo to do that. Other publishers do not have the concept of, an API approach like that. But for instance, with Magpie, we work very closely with them to offer, digital physical integration into the starter set that's currently in Target stores. We also have the ability to sell, hardcover and digital bundles. So we have worked out, parts of our licensing agreement with these partners to work that through. We also have similar offerings with Renegade on the vampire side, where you can buy, hardcover digital bundling like that. So we're looking for it in those ways where when you make your first purchase, you can buy the physical and digital together and get, the discounts associated with that. But we don't have that in place currently for other publishers. But those are things that we are constantly asking them, if we can do something along those lines. So again, from our end, we are, virtually always going to say yes. I can't think of a scenario where we'd say no to that. So we are always looking for those kind of integrations, but it's going to depend on, what the publishers are set up to support and what they're able to support. And by the way, in defense of, the publishers, it's also, we work with many publishers who also have a licensor that they're working with. So it might not always be up to, I'll use Free League as an example. It might not be up to Free League whether that can be an offering or not. It might be up to the, IP holder that they're working with. So those are all things that we are constantly pushing for, and we are poking and prodding along those lines. But it is something that we have to kind of have that buy-in and that capability from the publisher. So that's the reality check that we have there. But we've been thrilled with the ability to offer that in several places already, and we're going to continue to push for it because I think it's a wonderful thing for fans and for the industry. All right. We got one more question that popped in, but it doesn't look like a question necessarily, but I will end on it because it's very kind. Anchor 89, thank you, Demiplane team, for working in the trenches and giving us great tools to use. Keep up the great work. Not really a question. Yes, you are self-aware there with that, but I like it, so we ended on it. Thank you very much. Thanks, everyone out there. Join us tonight for a special on the Airtay at 6 p.m. Pacific. And again, look for the release a little bit later today with some continued updates into the closed alpha for Pathfinder Nexus. And really looking forward to everything that is lying ahead. We will see you next week. Later, Gators.